Hey, you might have noticed this new feature with the Copilot Summary has come to your Power Apps environment. But how do you configure it, set it up, and tailor it to your need is what I'm gonna go through today. So first, of course, we know that if I click up here, then I can see an entire summary of the project that I'm in. But you'll also notice that this is not on all entities, it's just on some entities. So let me show you how to set it up. I will start by going to make.powerapps.com, and in my environment, obviously I will go into my currently working solution and go to the table that I'm currently working in. And you will notice the row summary over here on the right side is currently grayed out, so I can use it right now. That's because I have to enable it in the admin center. So let's go ahead and go to the admin center. Now in the admin center, I'm gonna find my environment, and then I'm gonna go into settings and features. In here, I'm just gonna scroll down a little bit till I come to the, sorry, that was too long. That is AI Insights cards. That's the one we want to enable. So let's enable that and save it. Now I can go back to my solution. Let's just refresh the page here. And we can see now the row summary is enabled. So now I can go ahead and configure my row summary. So the first thing I want to do is to tell it that I'm working on the record in question. The record is getting from the row summary. And then I'm gonna tell it to summarize just like that. And then I'm obviously telling it here, summarize the status of the project and include the budget versus actuals as a metric. Now I also need to provide the budget and the actuals. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. So let's take the initiative here and take the budget. There they are. So now we can go ahead and test the prompt. And here we have it. It's gonna go in and tell us, well, this is the budget, this is the actuals, and then it's gonna base it off the current. The project is currently under budget with the actuals amounting to 57,000, and the budget is 122,000. So that's good. Let's apply that to the main form. And now I can go into my initiative and just refresh it. Now we can see it's generating the summary here in the top. It's just going to take a second. Let's expand it, see what it comes up with. Here it is. This took a little longer for the first generation here. I think it's building something in the background. And then we can see that the initiative identified record XXX is a pan-fighter robot with the project currently under budget. Is basically the same as we saw before, because I think it was using the same project. But obviously if I'm finding a new project here, then it would say something else, or we could generally go in and update the financials here. So in this system, we're not importing the financials, we're just typing them. So I could say I might have a surprise spending here of some software and technology on 40,000, and some surprise spending here as well, and capital improvements. And now we are over budget. Let's just save that. I think I can just refresh it. So now it's actually saying that we have exceeded the budget and we want to be focusing on this. Now this is a very general Copilot summary. Obviously you want something more advanced here. So let's go back into Power Apps here and modify the prompt here once again. So here I gave it a lot more information about what I wanted it to do. So first of all, whenever it encounters a KPI, I'm highlighting here what kind of KPI it is. So instead of showing these random numbers here, it's gonna show, at risk, need help, or no issues, with a little green, yellow, or amber column in front of it. And then I'm also going to instruct it here to say that it needs to read out the information and provide an executive summary. I'm giving an example of how an executive summary could look like, just to inspire it to give something that we will be familiar with. So now I can test it. And we can see here it now came up with something very similar. So I'm just going to say, well, the status date here, we don't want that. So let's just remove that. And then we can see that it comes up with a financial overview here, a project timeline overview, some recommendations. There's a lack of progress. Probably want to be aware of that and do something about that. And then the latest KPI status together with the issues reported. So I'm just going to apply that. And while that is applying here in the background, I'm going to go over to the project and just give it a little bit more information here on how the project is performing. So we saw before there was only one KPI status here. We're just going to go in and report a new status. So let's say this is for Wednesday. It's a bi-weekly status meeting, and we're going to say issues with getting the right people. And just going to say cost, scope, schedule, somehow the risk, resources at risk. Just save that. And then I'm also going to go into the financials here. That looks fine. Going into the timeline here and then report a little bit more progress on the timeline here. So we've got some more data to work with. Just like that. Let's save it. And then back on the details page here, we can obviously see the return on investment and the OKR. Let's just refresh it so it's saved properly. And then I can generate a new status here, and let's see what it comes up with. Great, so now I came up with that the Pathfinder robot project is currently in the initiate stage, which is correct. Focus on developing an autonomous robotic system designed to navigate a map in unknown environments. All right, that's pretty spot on, and probably used a lot of the description here. Given the current schedule of 80%, the project is at risk of not meeting the planned finish date of July 18, 2025. All right, that is actually really good information here, because if I go back to the plan here, we can see that we are already outside of the planned end date here, and we're only at 80%. We are not going to be able to complete all of these tasks before the middle of August here. And it's also highlighting here the project timeline. And well, it's highlighting again, well, the planned 80% completion here is simply not enough to finish this project on time. And then it's also highlighting here that the actual spend is actually going above the budget. And we can see that that might be a problem for who approved it, but it's not a problem because the return on investment is still 4.7. So all in all, I think this is a really capable functionality with the Copilot Summary. And keep in mind, now I just showed it on a project here, on an initiative. You can run it on programs and portfolios as well, or you can even run it on individual KPI statuses.